Hello YouTube, here we have the poor man's Nakamichi. This is an Aiwa f-660 3-head dual capstan high-end cassette deck. I picked this up for, it was about 80 quid from a shop in St Leonards on Sea, a hi-fi shop. The belts had completely gone to goo, disintegrated, and here is the cloth that I used to clean the capstans up. Now, I heard so many horror stories that these are the worst cassette decks to work on, but it wasn't too bad. Just took my time, had to take the front off, have the service manual, front off. There's three plugs and sockets to remove. Yeah, it does look a mess in there. I'm going to tidy it up. Luckily I was the first one in there, so I know it hadn't been messed about with, because it had these ties originally which I had to cut, but I'm going to put new cable ties in there. So the front comes off. The power switch assembly comes out. The eject button, you just pull off the metal part. There's 4 screws underneath, these 2 screws here, and then quite a few plugs and sockets. But again, you can't get them wrong, just take your time. Download the service manual from Hi-Fi Engine. But to be honest, I go with the philosophy of, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Now the belts, both belts are disintegrated, gone to goo, so that's all I've done. Remove this back of the motor assembly, clean both capstans, re-lubricated the capstan shaft, put the new belts on, which came from Malvern Hills Audio. I know you can spend about 50 quid and get some high-end belt for it, but at the moment these are working fine. So change the belts, put that back together, mechanism back into the machine. Whilst I did have the mechanism out, just take the opportunity, give the pinch rollers a good clean. I just give them a wipe with rubber renew, clean the capstans, obviously put the retaining washers back in. That prevents the oil from coming back out the capstan bearing onto the pinch roller. Put it back together, and just to test it, I've just plugged the front panel in, and all functions are fine. Fast forward. Lovely mechanism this, lovely. Rewind. Play. Pause. This is a 3-head machine, bias fine tune, Dolby BNC. Got lots of memory functions for the rewind and fast forward. Music sensor. This is going to go in my main hi-fi stack. Been after one of these for a while. Been after a nice 3-head machine. It's running, just running with my test kit in the workshop. The only thing I'm going to do is, once it's back together, just remove the bottom panel there and just look into these switches. I think the grease is probably dried up, because the fast forward, it doesn't pop up like the others. They got a nice click, but it works, but it doesn't give you a nice click. So I think there's grease under there that's probably dried up. I'll re-grease the back of the capstan flywheels as well. So I'll be back when it's all back together. So if you don't see this video, it means I've Donald Ducked it. Okay, see you soon. Bye bye. There you are. That's the underside of those buttons. Just cleaned up some old grease. Worked in some new grease. A little bit of oil. and they're now nice and free. So just 4 screws, that cover, there's the buttons. So now just carefully put it back together. So there you go, it's all working. Music search works, fast forward rewind works, the record works. I'll tell you what, let's try the recording. Shame it doesn't have a softer jack though. There we go. Right, I'm going to put this in the Akai. The Akai does play a little fast. Still got to sort that one out. So okay, so that's playing from the GX50. That's also a 3-head machine. I've got 2 of those. Right, 1D90. Self-tape select, so we're in a normal position. We'll use the Dolby. It's B-type, I'm not a big fan of C. So if we now just change the amplifier, we're going to dub from 2 to 1. Source on the cassette deck. There we go. Hit record. That's now recording. So this is the source, which is actually a tape. Let's go to tape. That's the tape. Dolby B is on. Dolby B is off. This is only a test rig, the speakers are under the bench, so the top end isn't particularly good. Well, it is to me, it is pretty good actually, I was quite surprised. Okay. Sauce. I'll have ketchup. Tape. This is the bias. So listen to the high end response. Now I'll make it sound very bright, but it'll probably distort. Hear that? That's under bias in the tape. I do like a slightly bright sounding tape, but you'd have to reduce the record level. That's the original. That's the tape, so it's too bright. Source. That's at the 12 o'clock position. Source. Tape. Dolby's off. Dolby B on. Dolby C. Dolby off. there we go. Just give the case a clean up with the foam cleaner, and this will go in my hi-fi rack. And I've got another GX M50, which I'll probably just stick in here for the moment, and I can do tape to tape. But I have got to sort the speed on that one. I've got a test cassette, 1 kHz test tone. That's recorded on a known good machine. It's a Sony DC6C quartz lock Walkman. It's been recorded off that, so that's my reference machine. And the way I measure the frequency response, so I put the 1 kHz test tone in, play. I've got an app on the phone, it uses the microphone, and it tells me what the frequency is. Which is good enough for me. I don't do repairs for customers. I just do the odd one for friends, family, but this is all my own kit. I drive trains normally, it's my job. And that's where I'm off to in another hour's time. It's 2300 now, so I'm going to get my uniform on, pack my flask. I'm off to Banbury to work some class 20s to Derby. Hopefully I'll be home in bed about 9:30 in the morning, fingers crossed. Okay YouTube, just give you a play out with Bell Williams. And look how quickly this deck rewinds. Lovely mechanical operation. Brakes fine. I was not going to get into changing the idler because that would be opening a huge can of worms. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So there's clearly nothing wrong with the idler. I will not change that. Oh my god, that would be a nightmare. And then I probably would Donald Duck the machine. And we don't want to Donald Duck this machine. Okay YouTube, thanks for watching. See you all soon. Bye bye.